Hey, Coach Mike Montefusco here at Raw Fitness. Going to go over the next part in our series called Speed Kills, and today's topic is core training for speed. The word core is thrown around a lot. A lot of people know that they have to get a stronger core to be more effective. People aren't, I find, exactly in tune to why they need to get their core stronger. They're just told the core will help them. So I want to touch on that a little bit briefly, and then I'll get into some exercises that you can do with little to no equipment. The first concept that I want to talk about is just if you look at actual sprinting. Actual sprinting has got an opposite arm, opposite leg action, where what's actually happening is the leg will drive into the ground, will exert force. That force has got to come, that energy's got to transfer up through the leg, then it comes across the body out through the arm. On the flip side, energy also comes from the arm through the shoulder, back through the body, down into the leg. So for someone to be a fast sprinter, an efficient sprinter, they cannot have any weak links up that energy transfer chain. If there is, energy will literally leak out and the athlete will look slower than they need to be. That's why if you see, particularly in younger athletes, you watch some of them run and you see kind of like the core kind of waggles around the limbs moving, which is really not what you want to see. We're huge proponents that the arms and the legs should move around the core, not the other way around. You'll also notice this is expressed a lot in athletes, that when they run, their arms cross their midline a lot. That's compensating for an inefficient core. And also, if you look at field and court sports, any type of change of direction, you'll see an athlete, will accelerate, go to stop and change direction and come back the other way. And we get what's called shoulder sway, where the pillar does not stay in good line to where the athlete needs to drive off next. That's all signals that the core is leaking out a lot of energy. So I hope that that makes sense. Mark Verstegen uses the analogy. He says it's like trying to fire a cannon out of a canoe. So you picture a canoe in water, cannon gets fired. I mean, how fast is that cannonball going to go when that canoe is very unstable in the water and has a tendency to move? We want the core or the pillar to be centered so that energy can get expressed better. So the first two exercises I want to touch on, probably two of the more popular exercises. I want to get into the right ways of doing these things, but it's a plank and a side plank. Very basic. Plank is primarily for the rectus abdominis, the six-pack muscles, as well as the deep muscles of the core if you're focusing on the right thing. Whenever we do any core training, movement training at all, we cue our athletes to get tall first and foremost, and we don't want them to flare the rib cage up when they do that. So we want them to maintain the same distance from hips to ribs, but get nice and tall. And you will notice if you do this yourself that your core will draw in. That's the transverse abdominis pulling the core musculature and keeping it nice and stable. So then when we go to the plank, we still have that same cue to get tall, but we will have the athlete on bows and toes, elbows and toes. We want the elbow right underneath the armpit, okay? And really what should happen is the athlete should look like they're standing up. They should literally be up in a fashion where the butt is not up high, it's not down low. And if they focus on getting tall while they hold that posture, they'll get the maximum benefit out of it. We like to start our strength training programs doing planks for reps, not long holds. Studies have shown that you can build endurance and efficiency in the core a little bit more by doing, say, 10 5-count holds as opposed to trying to do 1 52nd plank. I hope that makes sense. The next exercise is kind of going to work on more of the anti-rotational lateral movement forces is a side plank. So it's kind of its cousin. Side plank can be done. Now we're on, we have elbow goes under shoulder again. We instruct foot on top of foot, or if they want to do one foot in front of the other, that's okay too. And what we want the athlete to do is literally prop themselves up. they should have an absolute straight line from head to heel, strong as steel. So we shouldn't have any sagging here, and we shouldn't have the hips flexed at all. It should be great posture throughout. You will get, for some people, for their shoulder, it's a little hard at first. They will get accustomed to it. You can modify for a more novice athlete by tucking the knees behind and having them come up right here and hold. And again, we'll start with probably about 10 3-count holds usually is sufficient for somebody to get through it. And you really should be feeling it when you instruct the athletes to focus on their obliques, to focus on what's going on the side of their body. So those are the first 2 exercises on our core training for speed. I'm going to be right back with another video with 2 more exercises. Thanks for watching.